There's something mysterious about Sigma males. They don't fit in, they don't chase attention, and they don't need approval. But somehow, they always seem to show up at the exact moment when someone's life needs a serious shift. Almost like fate placed them there on purpose. While most people go through life following the same patterns, making the same mistakes, trusting the wrong people, repeating emotional cycles, a Sigma male walks in and everything starts to shift. Not through force, not through loud words, but through quiet, unshakable presence. And that presence changes people. Some would say that Sigma males are more than just lone wolves. They're messengers. Not in a religious sense, but in a karmic one. When a Sigma enters your life, it's like the universe sending a warning, a mirror, or a final wake-up call. They bring clarity. And that clarity isn't always comfortable. You may think they're just quiet, observant people, but their timing tells a different story. They appear when you're stuck. They challenge your choices. They show you what you've been avoiding. And sometimes, once the lesson is complete, they vanish, leaving you with the weight of your own reflection. This isn't always a painful thing. Some people grow because of a Sigma male's impact. Others resist the lesson and feel the loss even more when he walks away. But either way, their arrival is never random. It feels like karma walking into the room. Calm, silent, and completely unbothered. This video will break down the 6 signs that show a Sigma male may not be in your life by accident. These signs are subtle but powerful. And once you see them, you can't unsee them. Whether you are a Sigma male or have had one pass through your life in a way that changed you, these signs might explain what really happened and why it left such a lasting impact. Let's get into the first sign that a Sigma male might just be a divine messenger of karma. Sign number 1. They show up when patterns repeat. One of the clearest signs that a Sigma male is more than just another person in your life is this: they appear when your cycles start to spin out of control. Maybe it's a toxic relationship you keep going back to. Maybe it's a job that keeps draining your energy. Maybe it's friends who constantly let you down. Whatever the situation is, it's stuck. And that's exactly when the Sigma male arrives. He doesn't come in loud. He doesn't even try to change anything. But something about his timing is impossible to ignore. You're repeating the same loop, and then suddenly, here's this person who operates completely different. He doesn't get pulled into the drama. He doesn't play the same emotional games. He doesn't fall into the trap. That alone is jarring. Because most people around you are either enabling your patterns or pretending not to see them. But the Sigma male? He notices everything. He sees the lies you've told yourself, the red flags you keep ignoring, the cycles you won't break. And without saying much, his presence starts shaking those patterns loose. This isn't a conscious choice. Sigma males don't walk around trying to fix people. But their energy creates contrast. They don't tolerate dysfunction. They don't need chaos. They don't feed off attention. So when they step into a broken environment, the whole space reacts because they don't match it. You might start feeling uncomfortable around him, not because he's doing anything wrong, but because he reminds you of what you should have done a long time ago. He holds up a mirror without trying. Just by existing the way he does, he shows you how far you've strayed from your own peace. That's why people either grow around Sigma males or push them away. There's rarely an in-between. His presence forces a choice: stay in the cycle or break it. Keep blaming others or take responsibility. It's not his words that do it. It's his energy, his timing, and his refusal to play into what's fake. People might call it coincidence. But if you've been through this, you know better. The timing is too sharp. The shift is too real. You're stuck in a loop, and the Sigma male shows up right when you're about to hit a wall. He doesn't save you, but he does trigger something. And once that trigger hits, your mind starts seeing what it ignored before. Sometimes this sign looks like a deep conversation that sticks with you. Other times, it's just a stare that says, you already know the truth. But however it happens, it makes you see things differently. And once you see it, you can't go back. It's not magic. It's clarity. But it feels like fate. So if a Sigma male entered your life during a time when things were repeating, falling apart, or stuck, understand this: it might not have been a coincidence. It might have been karma, sending someone to shake your loop and snap you out of it. Sign number 2. They mirror hidden truths. Another powerful sign that a Sigma male is more than just a passing presence is how deeply they reflect your inner world. Without even trying, they become a mirror, one that shows you parts of yourself you've been avoiding. Most people avoid truth. Not because they don't want it, but because truth is uncomfortable. It forces you to look at your flaws, your mistakes, your blind spots. That's why many people surround themselves with others who won't challenge them. People who agree. People who stay surface level. The Sigma male isn't like that. He doesn't challenge you with direct confrontation. He doesn't start fights or pick apart your choices. Instead, he just lives by a different code. He holds himself to a higher standard, and when you see that, you can't help but question your own. He may notice your inconsistencies, your contradictions, the small lies you tell others and yourself. But he won't call you out with anger. He'll just keep being honest, calm, and consistent. And somehow, that starts to bother you, not because he's wrong, but because deep down you know he's right. That's how the mirror works. You start seeing your own avoidance through his discipline. You start seeing your weakness through his strength. You start seeing your emotional chaos through his stillness. It's subtle, but it's powerful. And once it begins, you either start to grow or you start to resent him. Some people feel judged around Sigma males, but the truth is, they're not being judged. They're being exposed. And it's not by words, it's by contrast. His honesty shows you where you've been fake. His patience shows you where you've been reactive. His solitude shows you where you've been needy. And even if he never says a word, your mind starts having conversations you've avoided for years. This is why many people feel unsettled by Sigma males. Not because they're aggressive, but because they shine light into dark corners. They bring up what's been buried. And that can feel like emotional pressure, even if he's doing nothing but existing. For the people who are ready to change, this becomes a gift. They take the reflection and do something with it. They grow. They clean up their lives. They stop running. But for others, the reflection is too much. So they push him away, and sometimes hate him for showing them what they didn't want to see. But here's the truth. The mirror never lies. And when a Sigma male holds it up, it's not to hurt you. It's to wake you up. That's why many people don't forget their time with a Sigma male. Because whether they liked him or not, they saw themselves more clearly than ever before. Sign number 3. They stay detached, while everyone reacts. One of the strongest signs that a Sigma male is acting as a karma messenger is this: they don't get emotionally tangled in the drama around them. When things fall apart, when people panic, argue, or play games, the Sigma doesn't flinch. He stays detached, focused, clear. And that detachment sends a message louder than words. Most people respond to conflict with emotion. They yell when they feel attacked. They get defensive when they're criticized. They react fast, sometimes without thinking. But not the Sigma male. He doesn't respond just because someone else is loud. He doesn't match energy. He watches. And that's what makes him dangerous to those who thrive on chaos. When someone tries to trigger him, he doesn't take the bait. If someone tries to pull him into drama, he doesn't play along. He observes, processes, and chooses whether or not it's even worth a response. Most of the time it's not. And when he goes silent in the middle of other people's noise, it sends a shock through the room. His detachment doesn't come from coldness. It comes from awareness. He sees the bigger picture. He knows when something is a test, a distraction, or a trap. So while everyone else is acting out, he's calculating, watching, and waiting. This kind of energy brings karma all on its own. Because the people who depend on emotional reactions to control others suddenly lose their power. The ones who manipulate with guilt, anger, or fear find that their usual tactics don't work on him. And that forces them to look at themselves. That's where the karmic lesson begins. The Sigma male doesn't fight to teach a lesson. He just refuses to participate in emotional games. And that refusal holds up a mirror. Look what you're doing. Look how you're behaving. Look how you're trying to control. Some people can't handle that mirror. They double down. They get louder. But others, they pause. They reflect. They realize just how much of their life has been based on trying to get a reaction out of people. And that's when change starts. In a way, the Sigma's silence becomes its own form of karma. It forces accountability. Because without a reaction, the other person has to face their own actions. There's no one to blame, no energy to bounce off of, just their own behavior echoing back. The Sigma doesn't need to punish. The truth does it for him. He walks into rooms full of tension and doesn't absorb it. He hears gossip and doesn't respond. He sees chaos and doesn't feed it. And all of that creates a wave of discomfort in people who are used to emotional control. Some try to pull him in harder. Others quietly pull back. Either way, the lesson has started. That's why his detachment isn't just personality, it's purpose. He brings calm where there's noise, control where there's panic. And by doing that, he forces others to see just how reactive and out of control they really are. It's one of the clearest signs he's a karmic figure in someone's life. Sign number 4, they shift energy without force. Another powerful sign that a Sigma male might be playing a karmic role is his ability to shift the energy in any space without trying. He doesn't yell. He doesn't take over the room. But his presence alone changes the atmosphere. And everyone feels it. You've probably felt this before. The moment someone walks into a room and everything feels different. Not louder. Not more tense. Just more aware. That's what happens when a Sigma male steps into a space. The energy shifts because he doesn't match anyone. He brings his own. He walks in calm, centered, focused. He doesn't rush. He doesn't pretend. And people sense it instantly. Some become curious. Some become nervous. But all of them start adjusting their energy around him, even if they don't realize it. That's power. Not because he demands anything, but because his energy reveals everything. Fake confidence, loud egos, small talk, attention-seeking, all of it starts to fade in his presence. Because compared to his silence and certainty, those things feel thin. People who usually control rooms might feel threatened. Not because he's competing, but because he's not. And the fact that he doesn't need validation often makes others question why they do. This shift affects conversations too. People start thinking before they speak. They drop the exaggerations. They say less but mean more. His presence invites honesty. Not because he asks for it, but because pretending feels pointless around him. That's the sign of someone who brings karmic energy. They don't need to push. They just arrive and the space starts shifting. Because their energy is pure, clear, and unshaken by outside noise. He also changes relationships. When someone is used to controlling or manipulating others, they can't figure him out. He doesn't chase. He doesn't react. He doesn't fall into roles. And that forces people to act differently, to speak more honestly, to treat him with more caution. Some people hate this. Others grow from it. Either way, the shift is happening. And that's the lesson. Even outside of people, he changes direction. A toxic workplace suddenly starts feeling exposed. A friend group starts losing its grip. A partner who's been playing games realizes they're now playing alone. It's not magic. It's clarity. And it happens without force. That's what makes this sign so important. A Sigma male doesn't force change. He activates it. And once that energy moves, things start aligning or falling apart. That's the effect of a true karma messenger. No yelling. No pressure. Just presence that pushes people to grow or to leave. Sign number 5. They leave when the lessons learned. One of the most mysterious signs that a Sigma male may have been placed in someone's life for a reason is how he exits. He doesn't always stay. In fact, once the lesson is clear, once the growth has begun, he often leaves. This doesn't mean he ghosts people to hurt them. It means he understands his role. He's not there to fix others. He's there to shake something loose, to show something real, to help someone see a truth they've been ignoring. And once that happens, his work is done. The exit is clean. Sometimes it's sudden. Other times it's slow. But it always feels final. And it often leaves people wondering why he's gone. That's the karmic part. People don't realize the impact until after he leaves. The lessons come into focus. The choices become clear. His silence becomes a space where reflection happens. And for the first time, the person he left behind starts facing themselves. This is why some people never forget him. Not because he stayed, but because he left after they learned what they needed to learn. His exit becomes part of the message. He wasn't there to be permanent. He was there to shift something. And once that shift happened, he moved on. Sign number 6. They reflect after exit, in silence. After the Sigma male is gone, most people assume the story is over. He came, made an impact, then vanished. But what they don't realize is he's still thinking, still observing, still reflecting. The Sigma male doesn't just walk away without thought. He may stay silent, but inside he's reviewing everything. Not to hold grudges or feed his ego, but to understand the role he played. What he saw. What the situation revealed about others and about himself. This is another sign that he's more than just a wanderer. He's a messenger with awareness. A person who enters lives at just the right time and leaves behind lessons that don't end when he does. And even when he's gone, his thoughts still return to what happened, not with emotion, but with clarity. He doesn't reach back out. He doesn't try to change what's done. But he carries the experience with him as part of his growth. Because even as a karma figure, he learns from what he's part of. Every situation sharpens his instincts, his boundaries, and his sense of purpose. This reflection is quiet but deep. He may wonder if the person took the lesson, if they changed, if they saw what needed to be seen. And even though he'll likely never check in, that curiosity lingers, not as obsession, but as closure. His silence after the exit isn't a wall, it's space. And that space speaks volumes. For the person left behind, it often becomes the echo of their own choices. Without noise, they hear themselves more clearly. Without reaction, they face the truth. And that's when karma settles in fully. Some people try to reconnect, to explain, to apologize. But the Sigma rarely answers. Because for him, the cycle is complete. The message has been delivered. The shift has begun. And now it's time to keep moving forward. That's why his silence after leaving is not cold, it's sacred. It holds the weight of what happened, the meaning, the growth. And if someone's paying attention, they'll feel that. They'll learn from it. In this way, the Sigma male continues to teach even after he's gone. Not through words, but through absence. And sometimes, that's when his message becomes the clearest of all. Sigma males don't walk into your life by accident. They show up when patterns need breaking, truths need revealing, and karma needs delivering. Whether they stay or go, their impact runs deep, and often it's only after they've left that the real lesson begins. These aren't ordinary men. They're mirrors, catalysts, messengers. They bring truth, peace, and sometimes a wake-up call that changes everything. If a Sigma male ever shifted your life, or if you are one who's delivered silent lessons, share your experience in the comments. Who did you wake up and what did they learn? Thanks for watching. Stay sharp and stay true.